In this lesson, you will learn about solving equations for variables and applying this to real-world problems. Okay, so if we look at the first example, I'm going to rewrite it over here. 5b plus 12c is equal to 9. Okay, we want to solve for b. So we want to get b alone. So the first thing that I would do is subtract 12c from both sides. So now I have 5b equals 9 minus 12c. And then I'm going to divide by 5 to get b alone. The 5's cancel out, and I have b is equal to 9 minus 12c over 5. Okay, pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, let's go ahead and see how you did. So I'm going to rewrite this one again because it looks a little bit weird. 2x minus 17y is equal to 13. Okay, so we're going to solve for y here. So we would want to subtract 2x from both sides. This becomes 0, and I have negative 17y is equal to 13 minus 2x. Then if I divide by negative 17, I'll get y alone. The 17's cancel out, and I have y is equal to 13 minus 2x divided by 17. Sorry, negative 17. Okay, so in this example, we have two variables that are multiplied together. So I'm going to rewrite here, 7x minus 2z is equal to 4 minus x times y, okay? So here we want to solve for x. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get all my x's on one side. So if I add xy, I'm going to add xy over here. Okay, so now on the left-hand side I have 7x plus xy minus 2z is equal to 4, okay? So I just want my x's on the left, so I'm going to bring my 2z over to the right. So if I add 2z to both sides, it becomes 0 here. And now I just have 7x plus xy equals 4. I'm sorry, this is z. 4 plus 2z. Okay? So in order to get x alone, I have to bring x outside. So I kind of have to take out an x and see what I have left over. So x times 7 would give me this 7x. So this x times 7 would give me 7x. And then what's left over from here would just be y. Okay, because then that would be x times y is equal to xy. The right side stays the same. I'm just going to move this up. Okay, so if we look back at what we just did, if I distributed, if I took x times 7, I would get 7x, and if I did x times y, I would get xy. Okay, now that I have x on the outside, I can divide this thing by 7 plus y. I can divide here by 7 plus y. Okay, so then I'm going to divide this side by 7 plus y. Now I have x is equal to 4. Oh, sorry guys, I don't know why I wrote that. Here I was just bringing down the 4s. 4 plus 2z over 7 plus y. Okay, here I have x alone. Okay, so take a minute and try this one and then check your work. Okay, so I would have written 12a plus 3c is equal to 2ab plus 6. Okay, so I'm rewriting and I need to solve for a here, okay? So I want to get all my a's onto one side. So I'm going to subtract 2ab because it's including an a. Bring it over here. Okay, so now I have negative 2ab plus 12a plus 3c is equal to, this is gone, 6. Okay, I'm going to bring my c over to the right because I don't need that. Minus 3c. This becomes 0, and I have negative 2ab plus 12a is equal to 6 minus 3c. Okay, so here is where I have the a and b multiplied together. I just want to solve for a, so I'm going to take out the a. So I want to think about a times something is equal to negative 2ab. Well, negative 2b times a would give me this answer right here. Okay, so negative 2b plus a times something will give me 12a, a times 12. Okay, so if you did distribute this, you would get the same answer. Okay, so now I can divide this by negative 2b plus 12. And then I'll just have a left over, which is what I want. So I'm going to do whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so this cancels out. And now I'm just left with a on the left-hand side. And on the right I have 6 minus 3c over negative 2b plus 12. Okay, so here I'm solving for a. Okay, so let's do a couple of problems to apply this to our life. Okay, so a car's fuel economy, E, which means kilometers per liter, is given by this formula right here. E equals m over g, where m is the number of kilometers driven and g is the number of liters used. Okay, so we want to solve this formula for m, okay? So m is the number of kilometers. We want to know, well, how many kilometers, okay? So if I have the original equation, E equals m over g, and I want to solve for m, I want to think about how can I get m alone? Well, if I want to get rid of the denominator g, if I multiply both by g, here the g's cancel out, and I'm just left with m. And on this side, I have E times g. Okay, so you could write it E times g equals m, or if you want to write it the other way, where m is equal to E times g. Okay, either or. Okay, so moving down. If Claudia's car has an average fuel consumption of 30 kilometers per liter and she used 9.5 liters, how far did she drive? Okay, so we want to think about where can we input this information. So let's use the equation that we just came up with. I'm going to erase this. The equation that we just came up with was m equals E times g. Okay, so in the above equation, we know that 30 kilometers per liter, well, E stands for per liter, so instead of E, I'm going to write 30. And then 9.5 liters is how many liters she used, which stands for the letter G, which is 9.5. Okay, so by using the equation solving for m, it's much easier to do this equation. And now I need to multiply 30 times 9.5. And I get m is equal to 285 kilometers. Okay, so that's how far that she drove. Okay, so pause the video for a moment and try this one. Okay, so instead of where it says solve for m, change this to solve for g and see what you come up with. Okay, one way that you could have done it was to first multiply by g to get rid of the denominator. And now I have g times E equals m. And then from here I can solve for g. I can divide by E. And this cancels out. And now I have g is equal to m over E. Okay, so let's take a look at our original equation, which is E equals m over g. Okay, so here we know E, because we know that E stands for the kilometers per liter. So the kilometers per liter would be 19. Okay, and then we also know how much she drove total, which was 1,477. So this is m, how much she drove in total. Okay, so we can figure out where we need to fill in this information. So in this case, we'd probably want to use the equation that we just came up with, which was EG equals M, and then we solved for G. This is what we did in the previous one, to get G equals M over E. Okay, now I can easily solve for G, because now G is going to be equal to 19. I'm sorry. G is going to be equal to 1,477, which is M, over E, which is 19. Okay, and here you're going to get G is equal to 77.74 liters. Okay, so this is how much fuel that she used.